The Swan Library is the newest building on campus and one of the most important resources for students, with a wide variety of study materials and state-of-the-art research tools. Director of the Swan Library is Eli Safeman.
Well, at the Wayland Library, Swan Library as we call it, we have an excellent collection. Many smaller colleges would covet to have this particular collection. Great reference section, great in science and the humanities and in mathematics. But we're really proud of our periodical collection. We go back 30 years, and a student can use the new technology, CD-ROM, in order to locate that information. And within seconds, they can have the pertinent bibliographic information. They can submit that information to the librarian, and within, let's say, a couple seconds, they can have that material in their hands. 30 years is a long way to go back, but our students do a lot of research. The curriculum here demands that.
Qu'est-ce que tu peux faire? What can you do? Qu'est-ce que tu peux faire?
The number of students in any given class is small, with as few as 5 and never more than 18. The small class sizes help students get to know each other and their teachers. They feel free to ask questions and participate in class discussions. Teachers are available for extra help during the academic day and at other times. But beyond their roles as instructors, the members of Wayland's faculty also serve as advisors or mentors to the Wayland students. The mentor program, as it is known, assigns a teacher to a small group of students. To describe the program is its director and dean of students, George Cobb.
Well, the mentor program, I think, is probably one of the most important ones at Wayland Academy. What it does, basically, it allows the school and the family and the students to have a relationship. The mentor acts as a communications link between the family and the school. And it's the primary link between the family and the school. We feel it's important for every young person on the campus to have an adult with whom he or she can have some conversation, some relationship of one kind or another, whether it's well, it's not a family relationship, but in a certain sense, a mentor acts as a parent or in a parental kind of role within the community.
You know, it's just a person I guess you can talk to also. When I came here, I think I only knew 2 people, you know, but I could go talk to my mentor in the early days.
When you first come here, and it's really hard to adapt to the change of the environment, and it helps a lot to have somebody there, and they act as a parent, like, hey, you're getting out of line, and kind of push you back in line.
They're always there working for you, and if you ever need the help, they're there, and they're ready to help you through the hard times and give you thanks when you do something good or something really well.
To most of us, high school students appear to be in perpetual motion, and at Wayland they practically are. Students choose from a wide range of activities to help burn up some of their extra energy. A big part of campus life is athletics and physical education. Each student participates on at least one of the 42 varsity and junior varsity sports teams. In addition, residential life at Wayland includes no shortage of extracurricular and specially planned weekend activities. Best of all, the students have a hand in planning the events. Many Wayland students say that one of the greatest aspects of their education is their ability to learn from one another. Because 25% of the student body is international and the rest come from all over the United States, there are many points of view to share.
From the country I come from, not a lot of students go to America like for scholarships, and this is a very good opportunity for you not only to practice English, but to live in a society where everything is different from your own country.
I know for one thing, Americans are kind of oblivious to what else is going on in the rest of the world. You know, we just think that our culture is the only good one, and that, you know, there's nothing wrong with our culture, and that's not always true.
It's very necessary, I think, for people to understand what other people believe in order to understand that, you know, everyone can have their own ideas.
It is an advantage because you change maybe your opinions towards some things, you open your mind for new things, and I think it will help me my whole life.
I learned, you know, how different cultures can get together and, you know, form one united culture. And I think it's a very good experience for my future because I'm going to be working in like international field. So I think it's very good preparation, like socially.
Dr. Ellis, what is the mission of Wayland Academy and what does it mean to you? I think the real mission of Wayland Academy is to make sure that each student optimizes both their opportunity and their potential. And for different students, that obviously necessitates different levels of achievement.
Not all students are gifted, nor do they learn at the same rate. What is Wayland Academy doing to address these issues?
At the Academy, we offer our curriculum on 3 different levels: college preparatory, honors, and advanced placement. And students are placed in a particular level by subject based on their ability. We do have some students who come to us. We have about 25% of our students are international students, and some of them require English as a second language. We also have a few students who have learning difficulties, and we have a coordinated tutorial program to help them deal with our curriculum and what we expect of all of our students. So I think really what we're doing is saying that in our student body, we have 260 or 70 individuals, and we try to meet the different needs of each one of those individuals.
Now, Wayland is located in a small city in Wisconsin. Are the students here perhaps too sheltered from the types of experiences they may face once they leave the academy?
Well, I guess I would respond to that by saying that there are few high school students who have the opportunity to live with students from 15 or 20 different nations and 15 or 20 different states. And we have at least a dozen major religions represented within the student body. And for many of our students, they have an opportunity to visit their friends at home. Last year, we had a young man from a farm in Mayville who had the opportunity to travel to South Korea for spring break. And I think those are the kinds of broadening opportunities that perhaps many American students never have an opportunity to participate in.
The American educational system has come under fire from critics who say that too much emphasis is placed on building a student's knowledge as opposed to showing them how they can apply their knowledge to real-world situations. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think that there may be a particle of truth in that. I think we expect an awful lot of the educational system. But for many of our students, living here together, a great distance from home, causes them or gives them the opportunity to live in a cooperative manner. And I think that the generation that we have on campus right now will go far in providing world cooperation. So I think if you can live together and learn a foreign language and visit other people's homes, the world is going to be a better place. I think that's complicated by the fact that our body of knowledge is increasing so rapidly that students need to have significantly more information and skills to go to college than I needed 30 or 35 years ago. Only about 7 hours of our day is involved in the classroom. We have athletics and extracurricular activities and living in the dormitory, and we've had trips to 5 or 6 foreign countries in the last 2 years. I think there's a lot more to any independent school education.
Thank you, Dr. Ellis. And while on your campus, we had the opportunity to talk with both students and faculty about the extent to which students are prepared to face the challenges of life. Here's what they had to say.
I think the important thing about independent boarding schools like Wayland is the socialization that goes on. And it comes down to real trivial kind of stuff. Living in a dormitory and sharing a bathroom, having an advisor, you know, an adult who you have to deal with on a real close one-to-one basis. Those kind of things, I think, go a real long way.
I came from a school in the middle of a cornfield, and it's a lot different coming here. There's so many different people, so many different backgrounds, so many different viewpoints. And you get introduced to all the different kinds of people and what they can think, and it broadens your mind.
Well, I do believe that applied education is going to be the education of the future, not just the book learning types of things. And we already see like applied math classes where they work with building things or might be measuring the amount of kernels in that pop in a popcorn popper, different types of things that actually gets them working with numbers. And I think that we will see more and more of that.
Faculty and students intermix and are working together a lot. The weekend activities involve a lot of these types of mixing things. So, yeah, I do believe that we're doing a lot more than just teaching them about books. You know, they're learning to live, be independent, and to become a part of life in the future.
Student-initiated organizations at school are really popular, the Ecology Club and some political organizations and some projects within the community that students initiate and get involved with by and large. really kick it through. And those are all encouraged but not sponsored necessarily by the administration and faculty members.
The students here are told they're going to sit down and study, and they don't have to listen to mom and dad tell them that, and they get used to that kind of structure. I think that's going to help them going on to college. I think that's going to help them in the future having to lay out what they need to do, make plans, organize themselves.
When considering the future, many critics of the American educational system say that we're headed for catastrophe. What can an independent boarding school like Wayland Academy do to help head off this catastrophe?
Well, I think catastrophe is a fairly strong word. I don't think there's any question that the educational community is in for some very difficult years, both from the point of view of the number of students and the financial resources necessary. I think that we need to recognize that training our youth, educating our youth is critical for the success of the country. And I think we need to place more importance on the need to educate, the funding to educate. And I think we need to recognize that everyone in their life should teach. They may not be a paid teacher, but there are certainly opportunities to volunteer at the YMCA or to work with a scout troop. But all of us have something to impart. And at least from my perspective, teaching is a very noble profession. And I would hope that more of our population would become involved with that process.
How do you see the Academy changing over the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I think the Academy is certainly going to change. We're in the process of working on our long-range plan. We try to plan 5, 10, and 15 years ahead. We don't intend to make the Academy any larger. We think 270, 75 students, somewhere in that range is a good range. It still gives me the opportunity to know students by name and to work with them individually. I think, though, that the way we deliver an education, the way students learn, the continuing use of computerization, I think these are all kinds of things that we're going to have to deal with and plan for. But I'm optimistic. I think that Wayland and other independent schools and public schools will move forward effectively and strongly. But we really need the support of the people who can make all this possible.
What advice might you give a graduating senior?
Well, I'm afraid I give them a dose of that every year at graduation. But the one thing that we like to think we do at Wayland is teaching them how to learn. And as long as you know how to learn, you're going to be able to adjust. You're going to be able to meet the changes that society has in store for you. I think that in many ways the content of courses is less important than the ability to learn new material and the ability to apply that material to new and changing situations. So I guess I would tell seniors, don't stop learning. That's the important part. And get on with life, and let's not complain, and do what needs to be done, because I think America's youth is ready and capable of doing that.
Thanks so much for being our guest today on American Spotlight. Now back to the studio.
Our guest today has been the president of Wayland Academy, Dr. William G. Ellis. We'd like to thank you for tuning in to this edition of American Spotlight. For Van King on location in Wisconsin, I'm Dave Saint. We'll see you next time.